and welcome to our very first Frugal Foodies Home Edition. So we are super happy to have you guys here with us today. Picked up your meal kit and going to cook along with the culinary staff. So welcome. We are doing this via Zoom, so I know that sometimes it's going to be hard to see. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to give you some Zoom tips to make sure that we are the biggest image on your screen so that you can see all the details that we will be showing you throughout the presentation. So you're going to want to make sure that you have our screen be the full screen. So in order to do that, you're going to want to go over to the top, I believe it's right-hand corner on your screen, and you're going to want to click View, and you're going to want to go full screen, and then you'll want to pin our actual window so that we are full screen for you and you won't have to worry about any other little faces distracting you in the background. In fact, you don't even need to have your camera on. As long as you can hear us and see us, that's all that you're going to need to do. So before we get started though, I think that's going to be important that we unbox, maybe you've already done this, but I'm going to have a little fun and unbox these home meal kits that we've created for you. So in your box, you should have flour. Put it here. You should have some olive oil. Make sure there's enough room here for everything. You should have some Dijon mustard. I know, just give us a break, okay? Dijon mustard. It's a little bit of big of a container, but that's fine. We have some red wine vinegar. Heavy cream. This is really exciting. I would say that Rachel, myself, and Laura had fun, and Melissa and her team had fun putting these kits together for you. Oh, 2 spatulas. And then we have a couple of these little containers here. So this one here is spices. I know, real descriptive here, but there should be Italian seasoning in here and crushed red pepper flakes. The G here should be your cloves of garlic that you'll need for tonight's recipe. And then some salt and pepper. Ooh, I almost dropped that. And this one that doesn't have a label on it, I believe it's, I'm gonna open it. It's butter. I knew it. All right. You should have some Parmesan cheese. I gotta be careful with this next ingredient. Eggs, they are raw, so be careful. They're not hard boiled, so you don't wanna crack them. Got some lettuce for your salad, a loaf of bread, and lastly, shrimp. And for those of you, we did include a recipe card in here too. So I know that Melissa and her team will be doing this demo live for you, but in case you get lost along the way, the recipe and all the directions are here. And tonight we're going to be making garlic shrimp Alfredo pasta. So this is a Money Matters event, so I want to let everybody know, especially our students out there who are joining us, that you will be earning moolah for attending tonight's event. You get all of the ingredients here. You're going to be cooking along with Melissa and her culinary team, but you're going to get $10 in moolah. So just watch the chat box. I'll be dropping a notification in the chat box for you to drop your email in there, and that's how you're going to get your moolah. Because you want to make sure that we get your moolah for you for any Money Matters events that you are going to be participating in this semester. But I know you guys don't want to hear me talk anymore. You're here because you want to learn how to make this meal on a budget. So I'm actually going to turn it over now to Melissa and her team. And Melissa and her team, you guys want to take it away with Do It Yourself Date Night.
Hi everyone, welcome. We're so excited to be here. Hey, you and I are kind of mixing signals here. There we go. All right, well, I'm Melissa. I'm an instructional assistant in the culinary management program here at CBTC. Like I said, we're really excited to see you, hear you, have you here one of the ways. I'm really excited because for the first time ever, we're wearing these clear masks. And these 2 students, I've never seen their whole faces. So I gotta tell you, I'm really excited about that. So, manners first. Ladies first, I'll let you go.
Yeah, so my name is Jasmine Bylander. I'm a 2nd semester student in the culinary management program.
And over here?
Hi, I'm Joseph Blasek. I'm a second semester as well in the Culinary Arts program.
So second semester, they are just getting into preparing meals, and in a couple weeks, they will be preparing meals for you, the public, our student body, our staff, anyone that would like. So make sure you stay tuned in a little bit later in our broadcast for further details. So with all that being said, a couple extra tips that I wanted to give regarding your boxing, or the unboxing that Pang did. All the ingredients are close to what your needs are, but for example, the oil, you have enough oil to cook your shrimp and make your salad dressing. So with that being said, please make sure to measure what you need for each different recipe piece. So remember that everything in your containers is not measured out perfectly. You will need to do a little bit of measuring, so make sure you have a measuring cup and some measuring spoons on hand for that. Second item, Pang talked about the recipe. So the first thing we always teach, and we know you're not in our class, we'd love you to be in our class, but read the recipe all the way through. It's very important to read it all the way through, because sometimes things will piece together differently for you than what's listed here, but also getting all of your ingredients prepped is really important for you to be ready to cook. So the first thing we do is we look at our equipment list and we look at our recipe list, and we would get all of these items in one location, prepared exactly as asked for on the recipe, and we'd also have all of our utensils or equipment out, such as pots and pans, bowls, and all the fun tools we need. Okay, so those are our first two fun tips. We are now going to get into the cooking. Okay, so as you'll see, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to prep our pasta, which means we are going to make our pasta. Now, making your own pasta is a wonderful thing because literally it's 4 ingredients max. 3 ingredients if you don't want to use the water. You can make this in a dorm room. You can make this in an apartment. All you really need is a bowl, your ingredients, and a pot to boil some water, or maybe a hot plate. Okay, so Jasmine is going to show us how you make fresh pasta.
Yeah, so first I pour in the flour and salt, and then I usually mix it just to make sure that the salt is fully incorporated, and then leave a little bit of a divot in the middle of your flour mound. This divot we will fill with the eggs, which we crack in a separate bowl to make sure that we don't get any shells or excess material into our dough.
So that's really important. We always like to crack eggs, no matter what we're doing, into a separate bowl so you don't get shells in the mixture that you can't get back out. So as you see, Jasmine is just lightly tapping her eggs on the counter, and then she is going to put them in the well or the center of her flour. She's just going to start folding them in, and you just gently fold the flour into the egg and just keep mixing until it looks fairly mixed to you, or maybe like a cake batter or a muffin batter. It will get drier, and then we'll add a little bit of our oil here shortly, as soon as she gets everything incorporated. Wonderful. Most people think that making fresh pasta is very daunting, but it really isn't. As you can see, it's as easy as mixing. I know that lots of people can do this. There's no need to be fearful of it. Wonderful. So you can see how it's coming together now. It's looking a little eggy, a little floury, but it's really starting to come together like a dough. Or if you've ever made a homemade pizza crust, it's starting to look similar to that.
Alright, add the oil.
So Jasmine is just adding a little bit of oil here, and she's going to mix that in. She's getting pretty close to where it needs to be. You ready to dump it, Jasmine?
Yeah.
So Jasmine's now going to flour her work surface as soon as she gets her spoon cleaned off here. And you can see she has somewhere to put all her dirty things or the items she's done with, so they're not in the way. And then she'll clean those up after, or we'll clean those up after. So she's lightly flouring her board. And now she's gonna dump the dough that she has made right on that floured surface and begin to knead. So kneading is something that I'm sure we all have heard, but just as a reminder, kneading is done by mixing the dough together. Once she gets it incorporated here, she'll use more of the palm of her hands to really push and start that gluten to start interacting and activating. You can make this pasta in a gluten-free form, but you need to purchase the gluten-free flour and follow directions for that. You might need to add some xanthan gum or some other items. But if you are a gluten-free person, then you would already know how to do that. So right now the dough is looking a little wet. So Jasmine's gonna keep adding flour and she's gonna keep kneading until it's not so sticky. It should not stick to her hands. But you can see she's pushing it down with the palms of her hands and pushing forward and then twisting and repeating, twisting and repeating. And while Jasmine does that, your recipe says for about 10 minutes. So we're gonna knead for a while. And since she's gonna keep doing the same motions here, we're gonna throw it over to Joseph. And Joseph is going to show you how to crack some garlic and get your garlic cream steeping.
Hi everybody. So cracking some garlic is just a matter of pushing down. And these are nice big cloves, so you might want to take a look at how many you use. And we're going to start with 2 big ones. And when you're cracking open your garlic, it's just a tap, and then it peels quite easily. So there's a little stem, but we're not too concerned about that. We're going to steep our garlic in the cream. Steeping just brings out all the oils and the flavors and imparts them into the cream, but we'll be taking them out. So we have about a cup and a half of cream here. And we'll go over to the stove. And we're just going to drop the 2 garlic cloves in. And we're going to put it on just a medium flame to begin. We don't want it to boil. We just want to get it up to a almost simmer temperature and leave it sit for a little bit until that garlic steeps really good into the cream. So we'll want to move it around a little bit. Once you see it come to a little bit of a bubble, little simmer, we're going to turn the flame down to low.
Great job, Joseph. The flame's just a little high here if you want to turn it down just a little bit more. Now the really important part with cream or milk is once it does come to a bubble, it can get away from you really quick. So if it starts to boil, you've got it way too hot. And also if it starts to rise up, you don't want to lose any of that cream. That's really the important part of this dish, or my favorite part anyways. So he's going to let that steep here and it's going to be on low. And then if it gets too hot, he's going to turn it down. And if our burner goes off, what do you do then, Joseph?
We'll just start it back up.
Okay.
But if we get too hot, you can always move it off to the side if it's a gas stove.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, we are going to move down and show you a few tips with our pasta. Joseph, would you mind turning the water on so we get it to a boil here pretty soon? And while we're navigating our way down to the pasta to begin rolling and getting ready for that, we're going to throw it back to Pang, who's going to give you a little more information.
Hi guys, how's it going so far? Are you guys learning some tips and tricks to making your own pasta? Who knew it was only 4 ingredients, right? Jasmine made it seem so easy, right? The flour. Is it Jasmine? Did I say that? Yes, I said it correctly. And it's what? Flour, egg, a little bit of salt and oil. But I'm sure you're probably wondering what I have in front of me here. This is our grand prize this semester, donated by Wisconsin. It is a Roomba, a robot vacuum cleaner. If you didn't know, these are all the rage. And all you have to do is actually participate in Money Matters and earn yourself $15 in moolah. In order to be eligible for the Roomba though, $10 of that moolah does need to be earned by either attending a workshop, which if you are doing Frugal Foodies with us tonight, you are already 2/3 of the way there, or attending a one-on-one coaching session with myself or another financial coach. Because we get it, our workshops aren't always convenient. At times you might have class, you might have other things happening in your life. So that's why we offer a coaching which fits into your schedule. We're available to meet either face-to-face or over the phone, or even through Zoom or Teams, whatever works best for you. But yes, this Roomba is our grand prize for this semester. So if you are participating and want to win this baby, don't just stop at 15. We've got a lot of things happening throughout the semester, and I'll talk a little bit more about where you can go to find out all the details of how to participate this semester. But Melissa, is your team ready to roll out some pasta for our audience?
We sure are.
All right,
You want to
take
meet
it
us
back.
down at the pasta station? All right. So, through the magic of TV or Zoom, we've got our pasta dough ready here. You can see we've floured it quite generously. Now the important part is to cut this into 4. So we're going to cut this into 4 pieces right now, and that's what we're going to begin to work with. So as you saw in your ingredient list or equipment list, we said you could roll out your pasta with lots of different items. So we've got our rolling pin. This probably doesn't look like your grandma's rolling pin. This is what we use here in class. It's more plastic, it's more sanitary for us. But obviously your wooden rolling pin that you use at home for cookies or anything else would work just fine. Another great tip that I use at home a lot when I teach other people is a wine bottle. I don't know about you guys, but I always have wine on hand, so it's kind of fun to have that. Pinot Grigio pairs really well with the shrimp pasta that we're having tonight, so we're going to drink it and we're going to use it. So we're using double duty. You're buying 1 bottle of wine, using it for 2 things. Money matters, right? All right, so I'm going to show you first with the wine bottle, and then we'll show you with the rolling pin after that. So I'm going to form this into a disc. You can kind of see it looks like a mini pizza here. Okay? And I'm going to flour my wine bottle just a little bit, and we're going to roll it out. Just like you're making sugar cookies at Christmas, you want to roll it, flour it, and twist. Okay? Once you start going, you really want to go, we want a long pasta, that's what we're making today. So now I'm going to keep going in the same direction instead of twisting it. And you can see I got a little hole, that's okay. This is pasta. This is like Play-Doh, everybody. This is like when you make spaghetti when you're a kid in the Play-Doh machine and you push the little handle and it squirts out. That's all we're doing. You're not going to hurt it. Have some fun with it. Throw some flour at each other, take some cute selfies, whatever you want to do. But you can see I'm rolling this out now and it's getting to where I want it, right? So this is about the length I want. On your directions it says about 1/8 of an inch thick. So if you look at it, we're pretty thin there. If you hold it up, you can almost see through it. Not quite. That's about where you want it. Now, when you have it here, now we're going to cut the noodles. So since we're making fettuccine Alfredo, I'm going to make you some Alfredo slices. Here's another handy gadget, a pizza cutter. Almost everyone has a pizza cutter at home, and if you don't, then you can use your knife. I think it's kind of fun to use a pizza cutter because you can control it. As you can see, I kind of squared off that end. You don't have to. And then you begin cutting your strips. So you want your strips to be fairly similar in size because then they will cook all at the same time. So as long as they are all the same thickness and the same width, they're going to cook in the approximate time that we're saying, 3 to 4 minutes. Now, as you can see here, this isn't a perfect science. This guy's pretty wonky. He is not the same size all the way down, but who cares? It's your night. It's your pasta. It's your date night. If you're doing this together with a significant other, or you're doing it as a surprise for that significant other, they're really going to know this is homemade, and that's what's important. It's all from the heart, right? You're doing it yourself. You're making it with love. So I cut these in half. You can see these are shorter. You can cut it in half. You could leave a strip longer. You can leave a strip thicker. You can do whatever you'd like. It's your choice. Now, traditional, you'd have it a little bit skinnier and a little bit longer. About an approximate piece of fettuccine would be about that. And that way, when it's cooked, you can twirl it. Now, your recipe actually is going to make pasta for 4. So, what can I do with my extra pasta? Oh my goodness, so many things. You can, I'm just gonna give this a quick roll because it's gone back and I wanna show you. So if I have 2 sheets here, say I had some filling like some ricotta cheese and Parmesan cheese. We could make some easy raviolis by putting a little, you can cut all different kinds of shapes that you want. You can twist the pasta so you have a little bit of a shape, and you can even bow tie it there. You've almost got a tortellini not stuffed. It's really fun. You can play with it. Now also, your pasta is gonna last up to 24 hours in your fridge. So what you would do is you'd get some saran wrap and you'd cover it in the balls that we have here and let them sit in the fridge for up to 24 hours. You can also wrap them in saran wrap and then put them in a freezer type storage bag, and they will last about 6 months in the freezer. When you go to use it after you take it out of the freezer, you just pull it back out and let it defrost. I would pull it out and put it in the fridge the night before, and then about 2 hours before you're going to use it, put it out on the counter so it really warms up and it's pliable like this. And so we're going to have Jasmine show us how to roll out with a rolling pin. It's probably a little bit easier than all that I was doing. Go ahead.
Alright, so again, you want to make sure that your surface is floured and that you have your dough stretched out into a disc. And then, as Melissa said, roll it kind of like you're doing sugar cookies. You want that long stretch that she had, and even 1/8 inch thickness.
1/8 inch thickness, yep. By 1/4 inch width or ish. Everything's approximate today. Great. So you can see that the rolling pin works a little bit better than the wine bottle, but we really just wanted to make sure that we showed you all at home that there's so many ways to get this done. And when you're doing it at home and you're doing it from the heart, as we said, there's no right or wrong, so you can just have fun with it. And so there she has her pasta exactly like we showed you with the wine bottle. Big trick here is making sure you have enough flour so that you're not sticking to everything. You always want to have flour on your surface and flour on whatever it is you're using to roll it all out. Now we're going to show you what we do in class here because we think it's pretty fun. We just showed you how you do everything by hand, but we have this beautiful Italian pasta roller that just does the work for us. So we've got lots of little numbers here, and I'm going to turn it on. You can hear it running, and I still have my disc for those of you at home that might have the pasta roller. You just feed it through, and it comes out. We do 2 at the 1 speed, and oh, thank you, Joseph. I don't get this much help at home. You're just going to keep rolling it through, feeding it through until it's the size and thickness you want. As you can see, we're getting there with every time that I put it through now. Joseph's turning the number, and that number is tightening the roller in here. So it's getting longer and longer. Okay? We're almost there. You can see it stays a little skinnier this way. There we go. So that's the quick way to do it. All right. So we've got all this pasta down here. We're going to show you how we cut it evenly as well. So again, we have our attachment here. And we're going to slide the cutter on. This makes it all really quick. And again, super even. Uh-oh. We always have trouble with this. That's why we do it by hand sometimes. We don't. You know what? This is what we get for doing it live. We are not going to cut it this way, so you're not going to see the beautiful cut. We'll show it to you at the end, though, so you can see what we're doing with our clean cuts, okay? So we just wanted to go back a few steps here and show you. Jasmine, she came down and you saw her rolling, but that's because she had just finished kneading and now her dough is resting. So this is what that rested dough looks like. It's real soft and pliable, and this is what it looks like without the flour on it. Okay, so we just had that resting for us to look at. And now we're gonna go back to Joseph, and he's gonna talk about shrimp.
Hi guys. So we're going back into shrimp now, and what you've been given is a peeled on but deveined shrimp. So you can see that split. What we do is we simply pinch the tail, and then we can pull off pretty much most of the shell. And once you're done, you're good to go. Again, you always want to have a little garbage bucket too when you're doing this. And you can throw your trash straight away into that. And you have your shrimp. So what the recipe calls for is for you to cut this in half. Be very careful with your knife. You're going to want to keep your fingers way out of the way. Bring it up to the edge of the cutting board, and then give it a nice little slice, going right through the shrimp.
Wonderful. So you see how Joseph is keeping his fingers far away from the blade. He's on top of the shrimp and keeping his fingers away. But this is also a great tip for saving money. So we have these shrimp, and we're saying you can buy 2, 4, 6, 8, however many you want. Cut them in half, and then you have double for you and whoever you're making pasta for. So you're really getting a 2-for-1 when it comes to the shrimp here. And that is just a great money-saving tip. Now, if you wanted to buy some smaller shrimp, there are many different sizes out there. These are jumbo that you received in your kit and that we're working with. I believe your recipe says 12 shrimp, but it's all relative. Another exciting thing about this pasta, we're showing you shrimp. It's, it's close to Valentine's Day. We're kind of indulging. It's kind of special. But you can really do anything with this dish. You could do some grilled chicken strips. You could do, if you'd like it to be more vegetarian, you could do portobello mushrooms. You could really use almost any protein that you'd like with this that kind of matches the garlic profile. Okay? So Joseph, how are you doing with these shrimp?
Great. So now these are all prepared, as you can see. We're just going to put a light pepper and a light salting. And we salt high up so it doesn't just glob on there. And you have your salted and peppered shrimp.
So we're just going to let those shrimp sit. Now, again, this is all timing, right? So these shrimp are seasoned, and they're going to sit there. It's a cool enough environment that they're very safe to sit at this moment, because it's only going to be a few minutes until we just keep moving further along here, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn our attention to our salad dressing, or better known as a vinaigrette. And so today we're going to do a red wine vinaigrette, and we're going to go step by step here, starting with garlic. Are you ready to do the garlic, Jasmine?
Yeah.
All right.
So with the garlic, as Joseph showed you, you crush it down. And I personally prefer to remove the tail end, just because that can add a little bit of odd flavoring, maybe a little bitter. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mince the garlic. So to mince the garlic, you start with, it's not cooperating.
That's okay. Garlic is difficult. She's making some planks, right?
Yes.
Or some strips, if you will.
You start with strips or planks, and then you cube it up so it's almost uniform. And then you just kind of put it in a little pile, make sure the tip of your knife stays on the board, and what you're going to do is kind of pivot the knife into your circle.
So you see how Jasmine's holding the tip of her knife and then rocking her blade over the garlic. She's really going to get this garlic minced up, because you really want small bites for your salad dressing. You don't want to get a big bite of garlic in your salad dressing. Now, if you feel like garlic is too overpowering for you, a lot of times what we do is we'll throw a little salt on this to make it more of a paste. And I'll get that for you right now. So what we do is we just throw a little bit of salt on here. Do you want to keep going, Jasmine? Okay, so see that salt on there? This is just a little trick. The salt is going to make the garlic into a paste, which when the salt is in there, it gives it a little lighter taste, almost like it's cooked. Great. Perfect. So you can see the salt is combining really well with that garlic, and she's chopping it up. And she's kind of moving her blade across the top of the garlic to really almost pummel it down some more. Excellent, excellent. Another way that you can get your garlic to even smaller is to use a microplane. When you use a microplane, you're really going to get it so that it grates. So again, you're going to keep your fingers as far away as possible, and you're going to grate it. You can see right out of the gate there, it's really kind of just making almost what I call the paste before. And there's your finished product. You can see that it's really smooth, there's no lumps. So you can certainly do that with your garlic as well instead of chopping if you're not so comfortable with your knife. Okay, Jasmine?
So then you get your bowl, put your garlic paste cubed or shredded. And then next you add your red wine vinegar. I'm going to use one of those handy spatulas they're giving you and get my mustard, which is going to act as the emulsifier, which will keep your vinaigrette from separating. A pinch of red pepper, some Italian seasoning, and then you give that a nice stir, just so you get the mustard mixed really well with the red wine vinegar. Alright, and then while you add your oil, you want to make sure you add it slowly and steadily. That way you get an even emulsion. So I like to use bottles like this because it helps give you a steady stream, and it's also a perfect 3/4 cup. I'm going to switch from the spatula to a whisk, so that's easier.
Jasmine said the key to making a vinaigrette or an emulsification, as we call it, is a slow stream of the olive oil and a quick whisk. So she's whisking the entire time she's putting in that olive oil, and that will naturally thicken it, so it will look like a thicker vinaigrette. Is what we're aiming for here. If any of you out there have been to the Olive Garden, I tell you what, no matter where I've had salad in the world, I still go back and love the Olive Garden. My son and I take many dates there. That's wonderful. While Jasmine finishes that up, we're going to throw it over to Pang. She has a few more fun facts to tell you.
Hey everyone! So as we're cooking here, our DIY date night, it doesn't just have to be for dates. It could be really anybody that you may be cohabitating with. And so since we're talking all about ways to be frugal with money and talking about the people that you're living with that you love and share space with, I just want to put a plug in for our Money Matters workshop this February called For the Love of Money. No, it has nothing to do with like loving money, because money is great, but it's actually all about relationships and money and how to have healthy conversations with those that you may cohabitate with. So it could be family members, it could be your spouse, it could be someone that you are just dating or maybe have been dating for a while. Money is one of those topics, taboo topics that we've been taught our whole life. It's not just something, you just don't do it. However, Money Matters, we believe that the more you know, the more that you share your own values with money, the better your living situation is going to be. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've had roommates in the past and money has always been an issue. So I want you guys, if this is something where you're interested in, you're going to earn $10 in Money Matters Moolah for joining, and it's all virtual. So you can do this simply from your couch. We have, our first session was earlier today, from, I believe it was 11 to 12 earlier today, but we got 2 more sessions. So if you weren't able to join us earlier, we've got one next week on the 17th, and then the one the following week on the 25th. And you can RSVP for these sessions on our Money Matters page within My CBTC. or you can check out the emails that we've sent out through Money Matters. You can look at our social media posts. But yeah, just another plug to come in and earn more moolah. So if you attended Frugal Foodies tonight, if you do, for the love of money, that's $20 a moolah. That Aruba is almost yours. You got 20 raffle tickets. So, Melissa, is your team ready?
We are just ready here. We've got.
Okay, let's turn it over. Let's do the shrimp.
Awesome.
So the garlic is steeped, and one of the benefits of steeping garlic is you don't have that bite of garlic in there, that strong garlic flavor, but it does give you the oils of the garlic, and it's just creamy. So that's how we start with this.
Yes, so we're gonna drop the pasta in. As you can see here, we've got a nice rolling boil. And so what we're gonna do is we cut some of that perfectly prepared pasta from our roller, just because we have to make something look pretty for you all at home. So we've got some generously salted water. Joseph, what's your line?
Salty as a Mediterranean.
The water should be salty as the Mediterranean, just like you're in Italy. So we've got the fresh pasta and we're just dropping it in here. What you're gonna do is when I cut the pasta into quarters, essentially what we're dropping in is half. So 2/4 into the water. And I'm gonna bring that up to a little bit of a higher boil here now. And as that starts to boil, Joseph's gonna show you how to finish off your sauce. So go ahead, Joseph.
So we're just at a really, really low flame, and we're gonna add a bit of our butter. I don't know about you, but I like butter. And we're gonna just let that go until the butter melts. We'll give it a swirl every now and again.
And we've got a rolling boil here on our noodles. Again, the noodles are fresh. Pasta cooks for about 3 to 4 minutes. These ones are a little bit thicker, so we're gonna go the solid 4 minutes while Joseph's working on that sauce, and he's heating his pan up now because we're gonna put that shrimp in. So as you can see, there is a lot of things happening right now. We're finishing the sauce. Go ahead, Joseph, while I'm talking. He's gonna add the olive oil.
So we're gonna put a bit of olive oil. And again, back to that butter, love butter. Butter has a very low smoking point, or burn point, so the olive oil kind of makes that a little better. And we're gonna let that get a little bit going here and let that butter melt, but we don't want it too hot. We want it hot enough to cook the shrimp. Shrimp cook very quickly, so you'll want to be watching them. So on this end of the, well, she's done.
Yep, we've got our pasta done here. So I am gonna put it. Joseph, could I have your oil?
Certainly.
I'm gonna put a little oil in a pan just to coat the bottom. This is kind of an extra step that we didn't show you, but we got ahead on our pasta. So Joseph's gonna go ahead and get his shrimp in the pan and get those cooking, and they'll cook away. And while he's doing that, this is where it comes in handy to have two hands in the kitchen. I'm gonna put my pasta in that oil that I just heated up. You heard it simmer a little bit. That means sizzle, it's too hot. We don't want it to do that. You could even put it in the pan cool and wait to turn it on. So if you find yourself that you've gotten your pasta done before anything else, just put it in a pan and let it sit with a little olive oil. I don't have the heat going on this anymore, and it's okay to cool down because you're gonna heat the sauce up. Go ahead, Joseph.
So we've got, now the butter has melted. We're gonna add our cheese. You might want to save a little bit of your cheese to put back on top. And we're just gonna whisk that in. Once it's all melty, you can take it down and just let it sit there until you're ready for it.
So to recap, we have our pasta done. It's in a little bit of olive oil just sitting in a pan. So the olive oil keeps it from sticking together. And we are moving kind of quick here, folks, but that's real life cooking. Joseph is flipping his shrimp, you can see how when you turn it, this is how when you start to know shrimp are done, they get a real pink color. And they also curl up like this, so it looks pretty when you put it on your finished plate.
If it gets too hot, just take it off the heat for a second.
There you go. So the shrimp is going to finish cooking. Looks like is our sauce. How's our sauce coming together?
We're just going to add a little bit of pepper.
So Joseph's adding a little salt and pepper. You don't have to yours. You certainly have enough. And he's whisking. And if that cheese is all incorporated, he's got an Alfredo sauce. That easy, folks.
And we are good to go.
If you want to... Here, I've got a ladle for you, Joseph. You got one?
Perfect. I'll take your lid.
We're going to ladle some sauce right into our pasta that's finished. Excellent, thank you. So right now, he only put a couple ladlefuls on here. And I'm gonna turn the heat back on. Whoa, we had a big flame there. The heat is going to warm this all back up together. And as you can see, it's really well coated there. If you like your pasta or your Alfredo a little thicker, you can add more Parmesan cheese to it. I know Joseph left just a little bit out. Okay, so we've got our pasta. The sauce is thickened up, it's nice and warm. And Joseph, do you have your tongs? We're gonna go over and plate these now with our bowls. We like to use pasta bowls here in the culinary management program. And it's really pretty just to put your pasta right in the middle of the bowl. Now remember, this is your pasta for two. And then we're gonna top it with the shrimp. We like to plate and do presentation is first, but you certainly could mix all the shrimp in the pasta. It doesn't have to just be on top. And then once we get all the shrimp on, we're gonna just top it with a little parsley. Again, we do everything from the top because then it lands really eclectically or just haphazardly so it doesn't look so intentional. And there is garlic shrimp Alfredo. Now the only thing we have left to show you is we have to toss our salad. So Jasmine is gonna put the salad together while we get the table set. And then we'll show you our finished masterpiece.
So at the end, your vinaigrette should look something like this. And there are multiple ways to toss a salad, but I'm gonna show you the way that we teach here at the culinary program. So we just put a little bit of the dressing at the bottom of the bowl, kind of enough to coat the bowl. And then you guys got pre-chopped romaine, I believe?
Yes, I got pre-chopped romaine.
All right, cool.
And then have to work out for you.
I will put all that in the bowl, and then you can give it just a little bit of a shake, just to make sure that you kind of coat the bottom leaf, and then you drizzle the rest of it on top. Now, if you're someone who's like me and prefers to either dip their lettuce in their vinaigrette or just doesn't like a lot of vinaigrette, you can always just put a pile of lettuce on a plate and drizzle it on top yourself. But to toss the salad, you kind of just give it a little flip in the bowl.
That could be a slow motion shot or a boomerang. Look at that salad tossing. And so we want to note that we have given you the tools to make a vinaigrette and the ingredients, and we've also given you the lettuce. But as most people know, salad can be many, 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 many more things. You could top it with croutons and some Parmesan cheese to follow our theme. You could add tomatoes and black olives and red onions to keep with the Italian theme. Or you could add really any vegetable you like, and that will make your dinner complete. In addition, every kit has a loaf of bread for two. It's a rosemary, kind of a French style loaf of bread that's in a round form, and it's made by our baking and pastry students. We just kicked off our first semester of baking and pastry students, and they'll be able to get their baking and pastry certificate at the end of fall semester. So they were having some fun with bread, so we asked them to throw that into your kit for you, and you can enjoy that. As we walk over to the table, we have it all set up. Hey, you want to join us?
Yes.
All right. So we have the table set here. You can see that bread I was referring to. We also have a little bit of red wine. The red wine to go with this dinner, we would recommend a red blend or a red table wine, so to speak. If you like white, a Pinot Grigio is wonderful with this style. You could even do a Sauvignon Blanc. Those light whites are really going to cut through the thickness of the Alfredo and pair really well with your seafood. So here we have it, dinner for two on a dime. Thank you for joining us. Again, Melissa, Joseph, and Jasmine, thank you for your help. And Pang, you're going to send it home for us.
Well, I'm actually going to come over here and sit by the food. Sit by the food here while I wrap up tonight's Frugal Foodies Home Edition for you guys. So we know that if you've enjoyed tonight's workshop where Melissa and her team took you through a culinary experience, don't forget to sign up for our March one where Melissa and her team are going to take you through dinner on a dime. Recipe is still in the works, but I'm sure if you enjoyed tonight, March's session is going to be just as great as tonight's session. You can go ahead and start RSVPing for those now, and we'll have meal kits for the first 20 students to RSVP, and you'll get everything that you need to prepare a meal. In addition, if you're thinking frugal-wise, I need to do one plug for our foundation scholarships. The application due date for that is February 19th. So if you're looking for other people's money to pay for college, the CVTC Foundation scholarships are a great way for you to submit an application and be able to maybe potentially be a scholarship recipient. Those applications, like I said, are due February 19th, and the recipients will be notified via their student email account in early April. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of hungry. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight for Frugal Foodies. Melissa and her team, I'm going to give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you on our next Frugal Foodies Home Edition Dinner on a Dime. Bye guys!